I believe that podcasts are probably the number one way to make sales at the moment. What do you think about that, Sebastian, who makes podcasts?
I mean, not only is it what we teach our clients and the people we get the opportunity to work with, it's what I've been able to live for the past 13 years that I've been in business. I started my first company with $0. I was just having a conversation in the back about having a skateboard and a bus pass and no car. But I had the opportunity to say, hey, Doug, let's get you on the podcast. And I knew I had the opportunity to build a relationship through that conversation. If you would have told me back then that I would be helping people integrate a plan to do that for their business, meet new people, generate revenue through those conversations, I would have told you that you're off your rocker, but here we are.
It's actually fascinating. I was exposed to the world of podcasts in 2007. A very good friend of mine, he launched a podcast back then, and he said to me, Adam, you got to have a podcast. And I didn't do it. And it's one of my, like a lot of people regretted Bitcoin, but I got in on Bitcoin. That was not a regret for me. I didn't get into Bitcoin into like billions, but I definitely did good on Bitcoin. But I didn't get in on the podcast thing. And one of my incredibly close friends kept saying, you got to do it, you got to do it, you got to do it. And that guy is Jordan Harbinger, who is one of the top podcasters in the world. And in fact, the only reason this podcast exists is because he bullied me into making it event. He was like, when are you going to look at what I've done?
I see a bully trend here with you.
I get bullied a lot. Yeah. And it works. I'm a victim. And I'm like, I'll raise my hands there. But what I love about it is it's definitely been something that we should have done like 10 years ago.
If we're talking about podcasts in particular, you'd be surprised that it's not necessarily the podcast. It's the content that comes from the podcast. And so something as simple as putting this mic in front of me, automatically in your mind, I'm an authority because I have a mic in front of me. You know what I mean? So you could literally record yourself in a room by yourself talking into a mic, and then all of a sudden people are going to listen to your content if it gets out there in the right format, right? And so imagine now you have a podcast and you're actually having a conversation back and forth, and there's context. And so what it does is it creates authority. And so people are reaching out to you, and now they know me as the sales guy. Doug does sales. You know what I mean? It's not even building sales teams or any of that. It's just Doug does sales. If I need to do sales, I call Doug. And so the authority and the content that you're putting out, which podcasts are beautiful because now you've got 30 to 45 minutes. And how many 30 to 45 second clips is that? And you can put out as much as you want. You know what I mean? Now you have control of the volume of the content that attracts your leads.
What can somebody do?
So for me, I don't have a $100,000 product, but I am involved in a partnership that I literally put together a $100,000 product as you were talking.
Amazing. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So, this is going to be the full partnership here, and it's called Crusaders. It's a consulting company, right? So I'm the sales arm of it, and Tom over there is the CRM. Josh over there is the web development. And so, I can put together a $100,000 package that includes a website, a CRM. I'm going to scale your sales team, and we're going to do strategic operations implementation as well on top of that. And as soon as we get back, I'm putting that together. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, I got you.
You also answered my question. It's reps. It's 100% reps. Yeah. The more people you get in front of, the more content you put out on your podcast, the more people that inquire about it, get them on a call, schedule them on a call. Don't do the messenger back and forth thing. I get it. Packages are sold in messenger. I understand that, but I want to get you on the call because then I can really identify your real pain points. What happens is people come to me for recruiting, and I find out their culture sucks. People come to me for culture, and I find out they don't have a recruiting machine. You know what I mean? And so I can't sell the bigger packages unless we have an actual discovery call where I talk to them and I find those pain points. I'm able to solve them. And then on top of that, I get to paint that picture. I call it the crystal ball close, where you get a little crystal ball in front of you and say, I see your future after you use my product. And it's amazing, basically. And then you describe it to them and what a day in the life of that future looks like.
This is the biggest marketing mistake everybody makes when it comes to marketing. And it is the difference between success and failure. Your niche is not your industry, and you really have to work out, okay, who specifically am I selling to, and make the podcast about that, unless I'm completely wrong, Sebastian.
It was almost like we've had this conversation before because I literally just gave a talk a couple of weeks ago down in Cancun, and I verbatim said the same thing. It was a room full of EXP realtors, and I said, if I was a realtor,
that's so funny.
I would not be starting a podcast about real estate. You know why? Because people don't care about real estate. Most people would rather wake up in the morning, punch themselves in the face and eat their pillow than listen to how market conditions are with the real estate. But what I would do if I lived in Waco, Texas, I'd be interviewing local business owners. I would be interviewing anything that has to do with the in the know of Waco, Texas is the content I would be creating, to your point, to position myself as that go-to person on what they do. People confuse that distinction, but once you figure it out and it starts to click and you go, now I get it. And that's the common conversation when you meet people. When I say, like, our initial conversation a couple of years ago was like, I want to have conversations with people that I can sell something to. And they're like, I never even thought about that.
I do think that there is a mindset about a six-figure sale that people don't recognize. Like, for example, I just hired somebody to do some work for me, and it was $3,000 for some work. And it was like, it was funny because Eve tried to make the payment with a credit card, and he goes, I don't take credit cards. Can you do PayPal? And the minute that happened, Eve was like, this guy is not a real guy. Like, anyone who can't process a credit card for $3,000 isn't a real business. And I was like, you know what? Some industries, credit cards aren't a thing. Like, I get it, you know? And then she went, no, he just asked me to make sure it's friends and family because he wants to save the $30. And you know, she makes a really good point, which is when you're making a $3,000 sale, you can't argue about the $30. You kind of got to eat it.
Yeah.
And we had that experience with a guy that we wanted to hire for some mindset. And he charged us six figures. Or he was about to charge us six figures. And he said, if you're putting it on a credit card, I'm going to need you to pay the credit card processing fee on top of it. And we both sat down and went, yo, if we're giving you the amount of money that you can buy a house to help us level up our mindset about scarcity and money, and you're telling us to make sure we pay for the processing fee, we believe you have a mindset of scarcity about processing, because that's the one we're trying to get over. So no, we're not going to go through with that. But what I like about this is there is a mindset to making those very large sales that people don't have.